This is going to be really good. So my name is Michael Haas. I lead the House Hack Seattle team here at Compass, this office that you're hanging out right now in. We're a real estate agent team that focuses on working with investors on super cool projects like DADUs, which I'm sure having Thach here, we're going to talk about at some point. So before we get rocking and rolling, I do want to make a couple of quick announcements. I'm going to call everybody out really, really quick. If you're on the House Hack Seattle team and this is your home office, raise your hand super high so people can see you. We got Logan, we got Rach, we got Friday, we got Dennis, we got other people, we got Tyler, we got a pretty big crew here. I can't see everyone, but that is okay. So if you have questions, feel free to reach out to them. This event is only possible through sponsorship, and some of our sponsors are here tonight. We've got David Weiser, who runs Backyard ADU. David is a DADU builder. He built my last project in Wallingford. He's a super cool guy. Definitely feel free to grab him and chat with him about the tactical aspect of these projects because he's super knowledgeable. We do have Israel Lopez at Stern & Lending in the back of the house. Yo! our go-to hard money lender. He's got an incredible wealth of knowledge about these projects as well. A lot of our clients are taking them down hard money nowadays. Who else do we got? Brittany French in the house. Ah, we got Vincent. Sagarius Property Management. I've got a ton of rentals here in Seattle, and Seattle is a tough market to own rentals in. A lot of people who have rentals in Seattle hire property management because it is tough to self-manage with how crazy our laws are. BB and Vincent are great property managers. Definitely talk to them about that. And last up, I'm going to invite, before we bring Thach to the stage, I'm going to invite Kara Rozansky, conventional lender. She's going to chat a little bit about something that we've been working on the conventional lending space. If you know me, if you know Thach, you know that owning rentals long-term has been life-changing for myself, for Thach, for a lot of other investors in the room. That's not to say you can't make money flipping properties. That's not to say you can't make money as an agent or a wholesaler or a lot of different ways in real estate. But the reality is that the life-changing income often comes from buy and hold. It is tough to buy and hold right now at 7% interest rates. So we are doing everything we can to bring those interest rates down. Kara is doing a pretty cool loan program right now that can get that interest rate into the 5% range, which is doable for long-term rentals. She's going to talk about it for just a minute or two, and then we're going to pull Thach up, and we're going to get into the meat and potatoes. You guys ready?
For 15 years and working with Michael and the team over 5 years now. And the last 2 years have been hard for investors for one main reason. Who can guess it? Cash flow. So right now I have a program. It does have a prepayment penalty, so it cannot be owner occupied, but it brings the rates down to 5.5% compared to 7.5%. On $1 million purchase price, that's $900 a month that you'd be saving. So anyone who's been looking for a long-term hold and worried about cash flow, there are great opportunities out there here at Origin Point. Never hesitate to reach out and we can make it work. So thank you.
All right. So I'm going to try and do an introduction to someone that I don't think needs an introduction, but I'm going to give it a shot. If you've seen Thach Nguyen on social media, you know that he is loud, he is charismatic, he is exciting to be around and exciting to talk to. One thing that I can say from knowing Thach a little bit personally over the last 3 or 4 years is that the social media Thach is real. What is also real is someone that is compassionate, someone that is generous with his time and attention, someone that is thoughtful and remembers things that you talk about with him, which is impressive, knowing how many people Thach talks to on a daily basis. So I have been blessed to have known Thach over the last few years, and I'm excited for all the people that are meeting him for the first time tonight because I think he's going to have some really good stuff to say. And without further ado, let's bring Thach up here. Yo!
Can you guys hear me back there without this? Yeah? I'm going to just leave this off for now. So thank you for being here tonight. I normally don't speak late at night. This is usually my family time. But for Mike and Jess, I had to make an exception for these guys, okay? They've been trying to get me to speak for a while, but it just, evening time is where I dedicate a lot of my time to my kids. They play sports, and if you guys got kids, I'm gonna tell you, Time flies fast. And don't matter how much money you have, you can't rewind time. And I'm gonna talk a lot about that today. But now, knowing what I know now, right, I usually carve out all my time. Baseball season is now all the way till August. I get asked by Bigger Pocket. I get asked by Ryan Pineda. I get asked by all the biggest, all the biggest platform you out there. You guys see on social media, there's all people I know. I get asked to speak at all the events, and I turn down like pretty much 9 out of 10 events. Limitless is the only one I usually do. My friend Taro, I've been a long time friend with Taro. So every year he does Limitless, I go out there, right? But other than that, there's like, I got asked at Harvard to speak at Harvard recently, and it was during baseball season. And I'm like, can't make it. Because my kid is more important than speaking at Harvard. I don't need the word Harvard in my bio. You know what I mean? So anyway, so with that, thank you for being here tonight. I appreciate it. Also, thank you for actually Michael and Jess and the team for adjusting it to Wednesday evening. I know you guys usually do it Thursday evening. But Thursday evening, for a lot of the springboarder in the group, anyone who is a springboard inside the springboard mentorship, will you guys raise your hand? There's a lot of them here tonight. Give it up to them. All right. Usually I have coaching Tuesday morning at 10 o'clock to 12 to all the springboard students I have, and then Thursday evening from 5 to 7. So usually those days, I pretty much don't go nowhere. I don't speak nowhere. I usually stay. But Mike and Jeff was, like nice enough to move it on Wednesday. So I'm like, all right, you're moving on Wednesday, I'll come out. So that's why I'm here tonight. So what I'm going to do, you guys, is I'm going to rewind and tell you a little story, how I started, and then how I ended up where I'm at today. And then after that, I'm going to share with you some of my biggest life lesson, probably the biggest life lesson at the end. And then we're going to open up a Q&A. You want to talk about ADUs? I do a lot of those. You want to talk about multifamily? I do a lot of them. You want to talk about apartment building? I do a lot of them. A lot of people don't know I build a lot of big apartment buildings. I build a lot of multifamily. I don't preach about that on social media because a lot of my followers that follow me on social media, they are somewhere between one house to like 20 property. Anyone that's over 20, 30 property, right? A lot of times they already know what they're doing. They don't need me. They just like to network with me. So that's why most of my social media stuff is always geared towards the mass. And a lot of people don't know that. But I do a lot of multifamily for myself. I've been doing that for a long time. And, tonight, you guys want to talk about anything about that? I'm wide open. Any question you have about my journey, when we go to Q&A, I'm super transparent. Everything you see in social media, everything I say is my own life story. I don't preach anything on social media, like things. If anybody follow me on social media, all I do on social media is I just tell stories. And it's stories about myself. Story about my journey, how I fell down, how I got up, right? How my wins. It's just a big storytelling. That's all it is. And so that's why I think that a lot of people follow me because I'm the only person I think on social media that just tells stories. Everybody else always trying to sell something on social media. But me, I just want to inspire people by just sharing my story. So with that, let me start with my story. So they asked me what I want to talk about. Today I want to talk about, because this is what everybody want to know. How did you come from Vietnam and today have $100 million worth of real estate today from homeless? So this right here is my mom and myself at the shelter in Camp Murray in Tacoma. All right. So if you don't follow me on social media, that's my name. You'll see it. You type my name in. You find me on YouTube. You find me on all these are here, and that's where I'm at. I post 2 videos a day on 6 different platforms, 7 days a week for the last 5 years straight. Haven't missed one day. And that's why today I have over 2 million followers on TikTok, 1.5 million on Instagram, and 1 million on Facebook. Because it's consistency, just telling story, inspiring people about what I do, okay? All right, let me go ahead and begin telling you the story. So my vision, after doing all this today, I realized that I'm just an instrument to be used to the fullest to inspire people. So today, my vision today in life is pretty much inspiring, empowering billions of people to reach for the goals and dream and see that anything is possible by me just sharing my own story. So when you follow me, you're going to see that when there's tough time, I share my tough time. When there's good time, I share my good time. And tonight, you're going to be able to hear the good time and the tough time of my journey, okay? This is my vision, and I tell people all the time, anything is possible. If this Vietnamese kid came from Vietnam from nothing, and I made it, anybody can do this. You just gotta want it, okay? So, here's where it started. My dad, I was born in 1970. My dad worked for the US military, and that's me right there, and my brothers, right? And in 1975, my dad worked for the US military in Vietnam as a translator, and they found out that the communists is gonna take over South Vietnam in like literally 2 days. All the TV show, all the history you guys see with the US pulling out of Vietnam, the helicopter come out of the embassy suite, we was part of that whole evacuation. The boss called my dad and said, you should leave with us because you're Vietnamese, you work with the US government. When the communist comes in, if you get stuck here, they're gonna kill you. And they're gonna take you and all your family. You should leave. My dad was 34, my mom was 29 years old, and think about this. I'm 5 years old, right? He's 6, and then 7, and 8. And then my mom was pregnant, my sister, and I have a younger brother not in that picture. Just think about this, you guys. 34 and 29, and you had to make a decision on the spot to leave your country with 5 kids, pregnant with a baby. When I think about that story, that's called sacrifice as a parent. Today I got kids. Now I understand I can appreciate sacrifice. You're gonna see more of what I'm talking about. That was the last plane leaving out of the Vietnam cargo plane, C-140. We were on that plane. This is Camp Pendleton. We landed in Camp Pendleton in San Diego. We were there for 2-3 months. Then Governor Evans decided to help 500 refugees to come up to Washington State so he can migrate the refugee. And then this is Camp Murray. This is the original newspaper from the Seattle Times archive, and we clipped it. We found it and we clipped it, and that is us. My mom and dad was the first family that stepped foot on the ground of Washington State. They wanted to interview my dad on PPS, that whole 50. Matter of fact, next year coming up will be 50-year anniversary of the collapse of Vietnam. They wanted to interview my dad. My dad was like, oh, I'm good, I don't want to do it. His friend ended up doing it. But we were the first family that the Seattle Times wanted to interview. When we was at the shelter, you cannot leave the shelter unless someone sponsors you. This gentleman here was a volunteer there. He sponsored all 8 of us to go live with his mom. My dad had a job up in Rainier Valley, and we lived in Sumner, Washington, which is 50 minutes from here. Charles' mom was in her 50s. She used to drive my dad into Rainier Valley, drop him off, drive back home, and at 5 o'clock she'd drive back into Seattle, pick him up, drive him back home. Every day for a whole year. You're gonna see why my life was shaped in so many ways. All of us, everything that happened to us, good and bad, it shaped us for who we are today. He shaped this thing called contribution in my life. And you're gonna see, to tell you the story why. 3319 South Orchard Street. This is our first house in Seattle when we came here. We lived in Charles for 2.5 years. My dad finally got the job, and there was a rental house on 3319 South Orchard Street. This is on the corner of Orchard and Martin Luther King Street. If anybody knows where South Seattle is. 2-bedroom, unfinished basement, all 8 of us slept in this house. This was a palace compared to living in a homeless shelter. That's why today I appreciate how far we came. I might drive Rolls Royces and Bentleys and everything today, but I have no problem driving my Honda probably 70% of the time today. And I still have my Honda. I have one for a long time. I just never forget where I came from. I might live in Mercer Island, but I have no problem. My mom still living in Rainier Beach. That's our first house. She still kept it. She still lived there. I have no problem going in the Rainier Valley, eating at the Rainier Valley, food, everything. I just never forgot where I'm at. I dress like this all the time. This is how I normally dress. It's just normal for me. I don't need to be all super fancy because this is me. When I go on stage and speak to thousands of people on stage, this is how I dress. Like it or not, that's how it is. But because I came from Vietnam with nothing, I know what it is to be rich, and I can live both life. I can go to Rainier Valley, no one know I have any money. I can go into somewhere that has a lot of money, and I can dress like this, and someone knows something about this guy that is different. It's part of the hoodie. I graduated from high school. I graduated from college in 1991 as an aviation mechanic because my two older brother was in the aviation business. After I got my degree in fixing an airplane, I didn't want to do it. I went and got 3 jobs at the time. I worked at a body shop, I worked at Safeway, a dairy manager, and I worked at a Chinese restaurant at Valley Park. In 1991, when I graduated, I didn't really want to do all that, but I kept those jobs going, and then I got into real estate. I was 21 years old. I was the youngest real estate agent ever hired in Washington State. And I didn't know what to do. I was 21 years old. I met a mentor, and he says, I want you to go out there, find listings. Here's the script. And then he says, if you don't know no one, get on the street, knock on doors, and ask people if they sell their home. And if they do, go back, put together your marketing presentation, show them how you can list their home, and just do that 100 times a day. I was like, that's it? So I door knock, you guys, every day, 100 doors a day, 5 days a week, 10 years straight, never missed a day. And that's how I got all my listings. That's how I know how to find sellers. Today, I still have a team that sells real estate for Windermere Real Estate. From John L. Scott today. Today, I'm an expert on how to find deals. All my deal I ever buy is never from the MLS. It's always off market. Half of them is found by me, from me door knocking, cold calling people. Still today. I got skills. I know how to do scripts. I know how to cold call people. I know how to doc. I know how to build rapport with people. I learned all this from 10,000 doors a day for 10 years straight. And today, I don't do it randomly, 100 doors every day. I make a list of property that's ugly with house big lot in Seattle with the zoning I want. We mail out, and when I'm in the area, I knock on the people's doors and ask them what they sell. Today, looking like this, knock on people's door. They have no clue. I just bought another one just the other day, just closed yesterday on Beacon Hill. $550,000 down the street from where you live, your old house.
I moved.
I know you did. Okay, I know you did. So this is how I started. That's how I made my money. So I made my money for selling real estate in 91. I didn't make a lot of money yet, right? And then I met my first real estate mentor, Mike Ferry. He's the guy who taught a lot of people how to sell real estate. And he said, go out there and door knock. And I started door knock. I was making a little bit of money. And look at this, you guys. I want to show you how crazy this is. These are my postcards. You just send them out around Beacon Hill. This postcard right here was on Beacon Hill. Look, 1,640 square feet on Beacon Hill, right? $174,000. This is on North Beacon Hill. North Beacon Hill, $174,000. Look at this one. This is on North Beacon Hill, $195,000. And when I started, it was even cheaper than that. So I was making some money, right? And he was telling me, go knock on the door. That's how I was making money. I quit all my job. I was making some money. My first year, I only sold like 3 houses. My second year, I sold like 4 houses. My third year, I sold like 4 or 5 houses. And I just slowly built my way up. I was living at home with my mom and dad. Just so you guys know, the whole time I was selling real estate. And then I got inspired and I bought my first property. This is my first property, right? I paid 1997, paid $105,000. House hacked this bad boy, so you guys know, okay? 5% down, put $5,200 down. Today, That house today, just so y'all know, if you know this house, it's on the corner of 15th and Shelton, which is about 3 blocks north of Cleveland High School, all right, on a street called Bennett Street, okay? This house today, if I wanted to sell this house, I could sell it for $750,000. The tenant paid it down so that I own it free and clear. I get $3,000 a month, and right now, the garage is being permitted for the DADU for 2025. This property here with $5,200, and listen, when I bought it, I got it all painted. I'm not saying you should do this. Okay? My eye's itchy for a second, hold on. After I got it cleaned up, painted, I decided I'm gonna stay at my mom's house and I rented it. I house hacked this, and I'm gonna tell you more about what I'm gonna tell you more in a minute. But this property paid off by the tenant. I bought this in 1997. Look how much money I've made. $5,200 turned into $750. Now you know, when I built that ADU out in the backyard, I'm just gonna give you a little hint. I'm not designing it yet until summer 2025 because summer 2025 is gonna go to from 1,000 to 1,500 square feet ADU now. So I can build that 1,500 square foot for like $350,000, and where this area, that 1,500 square foot be worth easy $700,000 to $800,000. That's double my value again. This property right here, when I'm done, it'll be worth over $1 million within equity from one property. Just so you guys know, right now, not even counting this one yet, I have 15 permits for ADUs right now on Beacon Hill, all my property. I bought these back then, didn't even know I had ADU potential. Today, I have a whole bunch of ADU permits right now. I'm just waiting for the beginning of the year for rates to drop, and I'm gonna start building them out. Each one of these properties, I'll have backyards on them. I'm just building one by one out. So just that alone in Seattle, you could be a multi-millionaire in the next couple of years, okay? So that's my first house hack. And then I realized I need to make more money. I was selling real estate. I was making okay money. And Mike Ferry told me, go knock on more doors, go make more commission, but I wanted to make more money because I want to buy more real estate. And so what happened was, on my journey, these are some of my strategy I used. I was house hacking, and I started wholesaling, and I started flipping. And I was doing these to make more income. I'm gonna give you a little hint. The more income you have coming in, the more buying power you have. The more income you have coming in, the more property you can buy. The more income you can do, the more you can build out ADUs. The more income you bring in, the more loan you can get. The more income you bring in, the faster you can pay them down. The problem is most people get into investing, you know what they do? They take the foot off the gas pedal off their active income. Don't. Do both. Today, I still do wholesale. I still flip houses. I'm going to tell you about the other two strategies in a minute. But I was doing this so I can increase my active income. Why? Because for this reason. I did those two categories, selling real estate, wholesale, and hacking, selling real estate, flipping houses, and wholesale. I did that. I became a millionaire before 30 years old. Just that simple 3 things. And then I was making good money, but I wasn't paying attention. I gained weight. My head got big, right? It's already big already, but it got even worse, okay? And you got like that pager? See, anybody, if you really understand, this is when you know you made it back then. But you really know you made it when you got the stash, okay? Somebody said, bring back the stash the other day, right? So I became a millionaire. I thought I was like cloud 9, and then this happened. I get a phone call from my dad, and he says, can you come over to the house? But leave your wife Cam at home. Okay. I rush to the house. My dad and mom live in a split level. I walk up the stairs. I'm in the living room, and I'm looking at them at the end of this living room. They're sitting on the sofa, and they was like this. And I walked up to them like, what's the matter? And then my dad gave me this piece of paper, and I looked at it, and I read it, and it says, cancer. I told my dad, let me help you, Pop. I've been doing all this personal growth. Let's make some affirmation for you. I got money, Pop. I got $6 million in the bank. I'm going to empty it out for you. I'm going to fly you where you got to go, right? I'm going to take care of you. We can do this, Pop. I had some affirmation for him. He was reading it sometime. I took him to go get his treatment, to see your dad go in every month and get his chemo, and they can't find the veins. I remember at some point his lungs started getting blood, and they had to go in, they had to put the tube down his nose to get the blood out, and he was just crying and just. Eight months later, I had $6 million cash. Couldn't save him. My biggest takeaway from this, if you got a dream, go after it. And then the second thing, what you're going to hear me talk about more, is time. I speak at so many different real estate conventions. Everybody all brag about how many rental property they own, how much passive income they own, but nobody understand this. And I'll tell you what it is towards the end. So we buried him. Before we buried him, I used to take him and my mom and all my family, you guys, every year, all expense paid by me, the whole entire family, 15 of us. Once a year, we go to exotic places. This is Kona, Hawaii, all paid by me when I was making money. I have no regrets. They got to travel everywhere. If you're making money, share it with the people you love. Can't bury it with you when you go down the ground. That's another thing I learned. Then my mentor Saul said to me, Thach, wake up, dude. You're making all this money. You're young. What are you doing all this for anyways? You got one rental property. We got to set yourself up, dude. You got to get set up because you don't want to get old. When you get into your 40s and the 50s, you don't want to get to that point where you ain't set up and then you have to work. You want to have the freedom to be at someone's funeral. You want to be somewhere when your kids have baseball. You want to be somewhere when there's a birthday party. You want to be somewhere you can travel, hang out with them. You want to be where whoever you want to go, whatever you want to do, you want to set up so you can have that freedom. You got to start owning real estate. And I want you to think about this. That's all the thing you do, selling real estate, making million, wholesaling, flipping, all that is just a vehicle so you can buy real estate, so you can buy time. I didn't realize that. Until Saul said this to me, you guys, I used to think that the more money I make, yes. The more rental property I make, yes. But I realized it ain't, because I had it. And then he asked me this life-changing question. At what age do you want to have the option to work or not work? That was the question that changed my whole entire life when I was 26 years old. At what age, Thach, do you have the option to work or not work? I'm 26 years old, and I said, well, what does it cost me to live at the time? $6,000, $7,000? I said, Saul, you know, if I had $20,000 a month in passive income by the time I'm 35, 40 years old, that's double what I actually, almost 3 times more than my expenses. If I had $20,000 a month in passive income and I'm debt-free, yeah, Saul, debt-free, if I had 20 grand a month. Back then, 20,000 a month back then was a lot, just so you gotta know, okay? Average rent was like $1,500 to $2,000. So I figured, oh, I need 10 houses at $2,000. I need to buy 10 property and get them paid down. And I can be out of the rat race. He says, good. Your number one focus is to make money and accumulate these properties for me. And he used to meet with me every month. And he still does it today. Him and I are that close today. I'm the only real estate agent that he ever, he has 4,000 or 5,000 realtors ever came through this. I'm the only real estate agent that ever executed this. Isn't that crazy? Everybody said they want it, but nobody executed it. So I said, I'm on it. So guess what, you guys? Remember I said to you, I was making money from selling real estate. My inspiration was I need to get 10 property bought and paid off. So I started to figure out how to make more money selling real estate. And then I started figuring out how to make more money in wholesaling. I started figuring out how to actually do more fix and flip. And then I added the BRRRR. Instead of fixing and flipping, I keep some of them. But I had to make sure that these property, if I get more than 25% in gross profit, I'm going to keep it. Why? Because if a bank's going to give me 75% LTV, I can get my down payment money back out. And then they find it's 100%, that may have no money invested in the deal. So if I got a deal that has 25% gross profit, it's an automatic keeper. That way I can get my money back, I can recycle it. So I can build my 10 property quick. And I didn't even realize I was doing this. I was doing it because I knew that LTV always was 75%. So anytime I found a flip that made me 25% gross profit and a cash flow, it's an automatic keeper. That was a check mark. And it's in a good area, which I only buy in like Beacon Hill and those kind of area. And then I want to increase my income faster. I started building new construction. Some of them I will sell, and then some of them that make sense, that BRRRR, new construction, I kept them. Today, after everything I've done, I have sold real estate in my backyard, 2 hours away, which I realized, waste of time. I focus on closer. People think people think dream big is going wide. I'm going to tell you, dream big is going deep. People think that dreaming big is to say yes to everything. Dreaming big is to say more no than yes. Had to learn the hard way. I done wholesale, where I wholesale a deal, $5,000 deal to a $400,000 deal wholesale. I wholesale deal, my own backyard, 2 hours away. And I realized that $5,000 wholesale deal, it's more work than a $100,000 deal. And the farther one that I wholesale, even more work. So I had to figure out how do I narrow this thing down and really specialize in something. I was building new construction on Mercer Island where I live. I wanted to build on Mercer Island because I wanted to build the nice flashy home. Do you know how much bullshit you got to go through building a house in Bellevue and Mercer Island? Holy moly. And listen, at the end of the day, we make about $450,000. I can flip 2 or 3 houses and make more money than Mercer Island in less than the damn permit time in Mercer Island. Seriously, okay? But I didn't realize all that. So I've done everything. So when I tell my students, you know, I need to pick my brain so I can tell you how to be efficient, effective, and profitable quick. Today, I still sell real estate, just so you guys know, for John L. Scott. Okay? Last year, I made about $500,000 selling real estate. I have a team that basically just list and show houses. I don't do much of that. Okay? I still wholesale. I still flip houses. But most of them, when I find deal, I keep most of them. The one that doesn't meet my standard, I flip them off. I still build new construction today. Majority of new construction I built is to keep. I don't build new construction to sell no more. Because it takes too much time to get permits and build them out. There's no point on wasting my time over there. Today, if I'm building anything to keep, it's this. This is my 3 pillar of everything I keep. House with an ADU play on it. Second thing, multifamily. Third, micro apartments. These are my 3 things that I do in Seattle, and I go deep with them, every one of them. I've been doing these models. This is obviously newer, but from 1991, I started real estate until now, the $100 million, like Michael said, didn't come from flipping houses. Didn't come from building and selling houses. Because you know why? You cannot save $100 million worth of real estate. This so you gotta know, most of my property, that $100 million worth of real estate, I probably only owe maybe 30 or 40 million in debt. Because most of my stuff is big margins. You can't save that much money. I don't care how much you flip. I don't care how much you make in active income. I don't care how you build and sell. If you're making $1 million, $2 million, $3 million a year, if you don't own real estate, Uncle Sam taking half of your money every single year. Period. I want you to think about it. You work for a whole year, but you only got paid for 6 months. That's how foul it is when you think about it. And at the end of the day, you still got nothing to show for all the bullshit we go through around Seattle to get a permit to get a remodel on a house. And we do all that work, and then we sell it till we get this bag of money, and then you start over at zero again. And then you blink, and you turn around, and you didn't realize you're 45 years old already. Where did the time go? My biggest life lesson, you guys, I tell all the Springboard students, we have to keep these property. I'll tell you a couple of reasons why. One, this play is the new cash flow. You can build a house for $350,000, and you can rent it right now for $35,000 to $4,000. That's the 1% rule. 1% rule don't make it in the high-end market. This is the only place that we can make it happen now. So if there's any play you're gonna buy, you wanna buy these play. Why? $350,000 and you rent for $3,500 to $4,000. The last comp that just happened in North Seattle, an ADU 1,100 square feet sold for $1 million. One of them I saw rent for $4,500. And I know what it costs to build them. This is the new play. Okay? Now, the other thing, I'm gonna tell you why. I've been selling real estate since 1991. In Beacon Hill back then, home was selling for 100 grand. Today, it's about to cross over $1 million. I promise you, the real estate market in Seattle runs in a 10-year cycle. Every 10 years, it goes up. Every 2-3 years, it adjusts. And then every 10 years, it's called the 10-year cycle. If you know Leonard Scott, he preaches about this all the time. Right now, we're at the bottom of the market, working up the 10-year cycle again. Watch, quote me. This is my 4th real estate cycle. This is my, what is that? Since I've been in real estate since 1990, that's like 4, maybe 5 presidential election. In January, you will see rates do this. It's gonna happen. It's done it as many times I've been in real estate. So that means that if the rates drop, everybody's back on the field and they start buying. The 10-year cycle is about to take off again. If you own a property today, if you built this for $350,000, but it's worth $700,000, $800,000, 7 to 10 years, that $700,000, $800,000 will be double in value again. You know how fast your net worth grow? And you can get this financed 100% because it has double the equity. So the bank will finance 100% without you putting no money up. That's how crazy it is. You're not gonna find dirt. I promise you, 5 years from now, you're gonna call an owner with a lot. They're gonna go, oh, you wanna buy my property? I know what you can do with this property, buddy. 1.1 million. And if you don't buy it, she'll buy it. If you don't want it, she'll buy it. If you don't want it, everybody in this room will buy it. That's gonna be the normal standard. Remember townhouses? Back then, nobody wanted to buy them. My friend Dan Duffus from Blueprint started buying them up. Next thing you knew, everybody wanted them. Then you walk up to the owner, hey man, you want to sell this? Yeah, I know what you do on this spot. You can put 8 townhouses. How the hell you know you can get 8 townhouses? Oh, I know, I did my research. You want it? 800. Oh, you don't want it? Okay, she buying for 800. Everybody's bidding against each other buying townhouse land. And today, townhouse land is on a straight frozen. Builder don't want to buy townhouses. You know why? Because the HMA fees is killing them. You know what they're buying? You know why? No HMA fees. HMA fee is the mandatory housing that goes towards, affordable housing. When you do townhouses, you got to pay $30 a square foot for everything you build. You build a 1,500 square foot townhouse, $30, you pay in literally, what's that? $48, almost $50,000 towards HMA. If you got 8 townhouses, take 40 times 8, $320,000. You got to give that to the city before they give you permits. This, none. So, this is what I do today. On Beacon Hill, Kim had the great fortune to hang out with me, right? We went to a bunch of my property, right? And you still, none of these properties, you know they're real, because you've seen them.
Yes.
This is the apartment building I took you to. This one is being built. Yeah. On Bennett Street, there are like 11 houses. On Bennett Street, I own like 8 out of 11 houses on the same block. When I build out the ADU, it'd be like a lot more. But as soon as I buy something on that area, I farm everybody in that area, any home that's tired, and I see when they want to sell it, and then I just buy them up one by one. This, you guys, on Beacon Hill, I probably own like 75 houses on Beacon Hill, and they're all in the A neighborhood. I'm telling you right now, if there's anything you take away tonight, if it has good margin and cash flow, if it got more than 25% margin, keep it as a rental. You would thank me later, okay? All right, so I talk a lot about real estate. Remember I told you about Charles Zettler? Charles Zettler was the guy who basically taught me contribution. My dad was a social worker. As I was making money, right, I started doing a lot of philanthropy work. One of the nonprofit I work with is the RAVE. The RAVE is the nonprofit side of the Seattle Sounder FC team in Seattle. The World Cup is coming to Seattle in 2026. We're hosting 6th game here in Seattle, so you guys know. And the RAVE had a campaign called 26 Field by 2026. They want to build 26 soccer field in underprivileged neighborhood so they can actually have it ready by World Cup. And when FIFA came to town, that was one of the things that tipped them over to have Seattle host. They came to me 3 years ago to say, I'd love to have you part of this thing. And me and a whole bunch of Springboarder, we donated last year $1 million. And this year we're going to donate another $1 million in cash, not endowment, but real cash. We're the biggest donor for the Ray Foundation, even more than Agent Hanau, the owner of the Seattle Sounder. This is what we do. This is the soccer field right here. It's called Holly Park. This is before it got built. This field right here, they got 2 soccer fields on it. Cost us $500,000 to build that soccer field. Today, this is part of my philanthropist work that I do in Seattle. And I also build a lot of houses, and I rent them to affordable housing for a lot of the nonprofit in the Seattle area. So this is my way right now of actually honoring Charles Zettler. So it's not about making money only, it's about actually making a difference. So let me share this with you. Standing back today, looking all the way back now, I asked myself, what's the biggest life lesson? This is the biggest life lesson. What's the end game to this whole thing anyway, Thach? Why are we doing all this? Why do we own all this real estate? What's the real end game? I want everybody to really think about that. Why are you even out here wanting to invest in real estate? What's the ultimate end game? And that was the $1 million question that the moment I made, right, I just wasn't really like understanding why. Until my dad passed away. Remember I told you? When my dad passed away, the answer came to me. It's not about how many property you own. Saul says to me, you can be rich selling real estate, but you only can be wealthy when you own real estate. Okay? Rich is about trading your time for money. Wealth is about trading your money back for time. Why? Because you want to do more things that you love and you want to do it with the people you love. So ultimately, when my dad passed away, when Saul and I was talking, what I realized is I don't want to be rich. I want to be wealthy. But I don't want to be wealthy to say I have a lot of money or have all these property. I want to be wealthy because I want time and freedom. When my dad passed away, I realized I wish he could live long. He was only 65 years old when he passed away. And I wish he had more time. And I realized time is so precious. And I wish we could spend more time with him. My mom. She really wanted him to stay. At that time, Russell was the first kid born in the house. And also freedom. I wanted to do whatever I want to do, when I want to do it, and nobody can say yes and no. That was the biggest life lesson for me after my dad passed away. So today, when I tell you guys, owning real estate is not about so you can brag how many property you own. Owning real estate is so the end game is for everybody to buy your time and freedom back. I say this a lot to a lot of people on stage. Nobody wants a bed for a bed. Everybody wants a bed for a good night's sleep. Nobody wants real estate to say, I own 5 homes, I own 1,000 property, I own 10,000 property. You know why? Nobody give a shit. Just like nobody care about a bed. But what they really care about is a good night's sleep. What I realized, not about the 100 million, not about how many property I own, that's all great and dandy. But what I really want is a good night's sleep. What's a good night's sleep? Time and freedom. So you need to keep that in mind when you're working. You ask yourself, is this wholesale deal 2 hours away, is it going to give me more time and freedom, or is it going to move me more away from time and freedom? If this deal right here is low margin, a lot of headache, it's not the right rental property, do I really want to own it? And it's going to take away my time. Every decision you make when you own real estate, you got to ask yourself, is it moving you closer toward time and freedom, or is it moving you away from time and freedom? And if it's moving you away from time and freedom, it tells you you should not do it. I have a lot of students I mentor, and I tell them, are you sure you want to buy this property? Because you tell me you want time and freedom. If you buy this property, you realize what could happen, right? And they think about it, and they go, I never thought about it in that way. So I want everybody to think about, if you're going to own real estate, is it going to move you closer to time and freedom, or move you away? And here's the thing. Everybody, every year, you're going to get older and older. You want to set yourself up so that when you get to my age, I'm 54 years old, you want to have time and freedom to do what you want to do anytime, and can nobody tell you something. That's the ultimate wealth. Ultimate wealth. This is my biggest life lesson. If you don't set it up now, by the time you get to the 50s and the 60s, and you still grinding it out, let me show you this. People think working 9 to 5, making millions of dollars, self-employed, running a business, being a real wholesale, flipping house, building new construction, they think this is wealth. This is just a bigger rat race that you can't get off the treadmill. The real wealth is owning real estate and getting that time and freedom, creating that legacy. This is the ultimate goal. It's not about how many property you have or how much passive income you have. It's about how much time and freedom you have that you can buy back. For me, you guys, I make money now. When I make money, all my family benefit from it. All vacation spent, all vacation, all the things, all paid by me. This was the big soccer game we had at Seattle Sounder. Everybody, there was like 30 of them, they all came. All paid by me. Here's the most precious thing. If you got kids, you got to understand this. Especially if your kid go off to college. This is my boy Russell. We just dropped him off at college this year in September in California. This is Hudson, this is junior in high school. They've been with us all their whole life. We do everything together. Thank God I have the freedom and the flexibility. I can hop on a plane and go visit them anytime. And the great thing is, you guys, this whole time we've been growing up together, I made sure that all this time and freedom I tell you guys about, I was present at all their baseball game, all their soccer game, all the out in-state, all the out-of-state, all the practice. We was there. So today, this is wealth. When your kid in college want to talk every day on FaceTime with you and the parents. That's rare. I got friends that their kid don't want to see their parents, let alone they're not coming back for Thanksgiving. That ain't wealth. And some of the kids I know, their parents live in Mercer Island, they got wealth. And one of the kids don't want to come back for Thanksgiving. They missed the whole point. Thank God my kids, he want to talk every day. I'm going to go see him here on November 21st. And then I'll go down there, hang out with him for a day or two, and I'll bring him back up for Thanksgiving. That's freedom. So until you guys have kids, if you send them off to college, you're going to see. If you've done it right, they're going to want you to keep calling them and seeing you. And the most important thing, set yourself up early. Spend time with your loved ones. Spend time with people you really cherish before they pass away. Because you ain't bringing them back when they're gone. And you definitely don't want to regret it because you're too busy grinding it out every day for active income, not setting yourself up so you have time and freedom so you can spend time with them before they pass away. Every one of us is going to pass away. But if you set yourself up right, you can spend time with them. You can work when you want to work, where you want to work, whoever you work with. To me, that is the ultimate wealth. And nobody ever talks about this on stage. I've gone through every stage you can think of, you guys. Everybody missed this whole entire thing. Because you know why? Most of them you see on stage now, they're young people. They're all young, new influencer and new real estate investor. They ain't been around long enough to even understand this yet. So I'm teaching everyone in this room tonight. Go out there, work hard, bring a lot of active income in. Take the money, buy rental. Trade that rental for time and freedom so that you can go do more of this, because this is the real wealth at the end of the day. This is what you can take to the grave, the memories. You can't take the money to the grave because it's worthless. Okay? Thank you. Now, I'm free to any question you want to ask. ADU, finances, you name it, I'm wide open as a book. All right? First question. Who got it? Yes, sir. Right now, we can get permits for ADU in about 5 months. And then we can build it out for about 6 or 7 months. Dave, that's the same thing for you? How long it take you to build an ADU these days?
4.5 to 6 months.
There you go. See? And permits about anywhere probably
3 to 5.
Yeah, 3 to 5 months. See? So you think about it, you buy the old house in the front. As you remodel this, you go get permits for this right away. Right? By the time this house is done, 3-4 months of rehab, this house will have the permits. Then you condoize, you separate them. If you keep this, you just refinance this into permanent financing, and you only give the bank this lot only, separate from this lot. This lot will be separate, has its own parcel number with permits. You take this lot with permit and you go to a hard money lender bank, or you go to right now Israel, right? I know Israel here, but I know Gil Mortgage, right? Gil Mortgage, as a first-time home buyer, they can actually do the rehab loan, the new construction loan for the ADU, no money down.
Primary
Yeah.
only.
Huh?
That's primary only.
That's primary. They call it, look, my eye's itchy, Chan. House hack, new construction. Okay? All right? But Israel, the guy can do it, the new construction, if you have permits, it has its own separate parcel number. And that's how you capitalize on this. Now, if you don't want this, you just sell this off and you keep this. This is way better to keep than this because the cost is lower and you get better rent. This is usually higher and you get less rent. Does that make sense? Okay? Yes. Yes, sir.
So given that you, through all of your journey and hard work, you've gotten yourself to a place where you have bought your time back. And
Yes.
achieved that freedom.
Yes.
What is your new why as to why you keep working?
Oh, that's a great question, dude. For the most people that know me, like these guys, they know me. Today, it's about helping other people today. Right? Chan, Liz, Kim, these are people that I help on a daily basis. I want them to have time and freedom. I want to spread this message out to a lot of people. Because I tell you, when you get older, you realize time is the most important thing, not the money and not the property. But there's a lot of young folks investing these days. They have no clue. They just caught up on Instagram, go to seminar, and all they want to hear when I meet them, oh man, I'm so excited. I want to have 5,000 doors. What the hell? So today, what inspired me today is to really help people understand time and freedom. That's my motivation today. That's why I have Springboard, right? I teach them everything. But the message behind Springboard is buy your time back. That's the ultimate game. And every decision, every property they buy, I always question it because they have to bring the deal. I have a class, and every week I do a breakout room called Deal or No Deal. So anyone who has a deal, they come through and they sit with me and they go, Dad, I got this deal, and here's what I'm thinking. Can I run it by you? And then they run it by me, and I give them a thumbs up or a thumbs down. And I will question, is this going to move you closer to time or away from time? And that's what I want. I want to help people understand that, because when they do understand it, it's really fulfilling for me. So that's why I do it today. Really is a higher level of contribution. Thanks for Charles, just so you guys know, I was written up in the Good Morning America, all this newspaper and the TV. I was interviewed by Good Morning America, and I sent him all these clips, and he was so like in awe. Like, I still remember what he did for my family, and I told him, if it wasn't for you, man, I wouldn't be where I'm at. And he was so happy, so grateful that I remember. And then a couple of years later, he passed away. But that's what I'm saying, right? Those are like the best memories. Question? Yes, Aurora.
So I can totally relate to the story. My dad died at 54 of cancer. I'm about your age, and I'm in that lower or later phase.
Yes.
I'm looking at Hawaii, Big Island, like in the Pahoa area where things are more affordable, like under 500,000.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about that market? And it's Lava Zone 2, Lava Zone 1. It's a little bit risky, hard to get insurance. But like in Seattle, it's so hard to like buy properties here.
Now this is a great question. You see, she lives in Seattle, and she want to buy a rental, and she want to buy it not 2 hours away, but 6 hours away. Right? All right. Aurora missed the whole part of that part. Right? But this is the thing where I really have to spend time with the student, right? So here's the thing. Sometimes we buy property and it's not really investment. And we sell it as it is investment. You hear what she said? But I'm going to live there one day.
That's my retirement plan.
Yes. But this is what I'm saying. Look, buying a house on Mercer Island, it ain't no investment. I can sell it as an investment, but it ain't an investment, right? So for you, Aurora, it's like the question is, look, for me, you guys, I own all my property in Seattle. At one point, when I was young, you know, everything, I was trying to do everything. I wanted to buy a house in California. I wanted to buy a house in California. I wanted to buy a bunch of rental property in Seattle. And I'm glad I didn't, because I can own all my rental in Seattle and I can live in California. So for you, I would say to you is, you got to think, are you really selling yourself and trying to buy something there so one day you can retire in this house? Or you can actually buy anywhere, not just in the heart of Seattle. You can buy anywhere around the Seattle Puget Sound, get the passive income building, and if you want to live in down there, you can buy a condo when you're there. But here's the thing. If you want to buy a condo or house in Kona one day, or Hawaii one day, that's great. But just don't think it's an investment. It's just something that either you're going to live in it and you're going to rent it. If you ain't renting it, you're going to let it just sit there so that you can live there when you fly in and out back and forth. It ain't an investment property. You know, my wife Cameron says, I want to buy a rental property here. If I want to go to Hawaii, stay for 2 months, I'm just going to Airbnb my property, Airbnb in Hawaii, and keep it simple. That's how she says it.
Yeah, I saw your family in Hawaii, so I'm like, why haven't you done that?
Trust me. Listen, I'll tell you why. I have so many chances to buy so many property in California, so many property in Hawaii. But my wife Cammie and my mentor Saul, they're very, you know, what's wrong with buying, owning all these properties in Seattle? And then just whenever you want to go to Hawaii, like how often are you going to live in Hawaii every day for years? Like I couldn't live in Hawaii every day because I get bored to death. I got to move, right? So at some point, I realized I'm not doing it. Now, I have friends that own houses in Newport Beach, own houses in Hawaii. Every time I go down there, right, they're Airbnb houses, and I just Airbnb for them. And listen, these houses in California and Hawaii, $10 million houses, and they rent for like, to me, for $1,000 a night. I think that's a better investment. Just keep my money up here. Stay up here, okay? Question? Yes, sir.
You mentioned all your deals come off market,
Yes,
do
sir.
your own marketing.
Yes.
What would you suggest for people who don't have the capacity to run their own?
Yes. Where's William Thang at? Raise your hand, William Thang. So you see William Thang? You should meet him. Everybody should meet William Thang tonight. Go and literally jump on William Thang, get his business card. So William Thang created a system where now today he actually helped a lot of springboarders set up VA cold calling service, and they cold call for them. And his service now has actually done very well, and those callers are done very well for a lot of the springboard students all across America. So if you don't want to make the calls yourself, hire somebody to do it. You just got to make sure you create a perfect buy box list. So when you run it through like a deal machine, they can scrape the data, and then you give that list to William, and they will call for you. And then you take that same list and deal machine, you can mail to them, and then they can follow up and call, right? Just that alone. But I tell you, the most low-hanging fruit, nobody does. You'll be shocked when I tell you this. Nobody tell their friends, their co-worker, people they do business with, what they're buying. Nobody. Nobody. I gotta keep it. I gotta keep my. I shouldn't tell nobody. Everybody in Seattle knows Thach about ugly houses. Everybody. You know how? Social media. Look, I'll give you a tip. This is a story, right? Story is just what I do on a daily basis. Okay? I went to the gym this morning, and then look, I met my contractor today at my new house I bought. Look what I posted. See? I posted that. I said, meeting my contractor to begin our new BRRRR. I'm putting thoughts in the viewer's mind. Oh, what is Thach doing? Oh, he walking through his new BRRRR house. It's an ugly house. And the next slide says, look at this house. Just need a little bit of fixing to be ready for rent. People just curious about it. And the last one says, wait until you see the transformation. And then all I got to do, on the next slide, which I say, if anyone of you guys know someone who has a house that needs a lot of work but don't want to put it on the market, they want to sell it as is, call me. I'm happy to help. Do you know this right here is free advertising? This is more bigger than a billboard off of the most busiest freeway. Do you know if you actually run a billboard off of West Seattle Freeway, they charge you $15,000 a month? This social media is even more exposure than off a freeway of West Seattle, and it's free. How often do any one of you guys do that? Now, I wasn't selling. All I was doing was showing them what I was walking through. If you did that once or twice a week, you will get people, what are you looking at? Where's that at? That's how. So your friends, your follower, everybody, they'll be watching this. And then at work, tell people. They're going to say, I saw something on Instagram. What the heck was that thing? And you talk. Next thing you know, everybody knows. Look, all the people that I buy a car from, they all know what I buy. All the people that I buy shoes from, they all know what I buy. My UPS know what I buy. The FedEx know what I buy. They all know. So all I'm telling you guys, the lowest hanging fruit is people that in the co-worker and friends that follow you, they're the people that know everybody. It's 1 degree separation. Okay? Make sense? Question? Yes, sir.
So going back to Seattle DADUs,
Yep.
you were saying how they're increasing it to 1,500 square feet.
Yes.
Can you kind of just elaborate on that? Like, are there any caveats to that, like specific zonings or like neighborhoods? Can you just kind of speak?
Yeah, so you guys know DADU is only based on single family zoning.
Yep.
You know that, right? Now, by the summer of next year, right, they also talking about all single family is going to go into multi-unit. So if you have a big enough lot, you got a house in the front, if this house is worth keeping, instead of putting 1 DADU in the back, you can put 2 of them in the back. And if it's big,
The 2 of them as a total of 1,500 square feet?
No,
Like 700
per
feet?
each.
Okay.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
It's basically turning into townhouses now. That's what's happening. So I got a few lots out. I got a few lots out right now that are 6,000 square feet. I'm not even permitting them right now. You know why? Because I want the upzone single family. I want the upzone square footage. So I'm waiting till summer. So
You're going to build a duplex essentially on them.
yes. So you know townhouses. You know how townhouses are 3 stories, 2 story, and they're like 1,500 square feet. Imagine you have a house and you have 2 townhouses in the back. Each one of them 1,500 square feet. That's the game changer. Watch. You got to buy the property. The land's free. That's why it's better to buy a property, or you can do not tear this down. If you tear this down, then that value of the property, it just dispersed into lots. So you buy a property for $500,000 and you tear the townhouse, you tear the house down, each lot now is worth 150 or 125, 135. But if you can keep the property, that property takes all the weight, and then the lot in the back is free. So that's why when I buy a property, I never want to tear this house down. I want to get it to a point I can rehab it, I can get the lot for free. Does that make sense? Like for example, this house I just bought in Beacon Hill, I paid $550 for it. Kind of cost me $200,000 to rehab it. I'm all in for $750, right? I can sell that house for $900,000 on North Beacon Hill. So now I got that property. I can put 2 townhouses in the backyard.
What will those cost you about per square foot to build?
There you tell them. What does it cost to build those?
270 to like 310.
There you go. Right? See the money there? Look, let's use 1,000 square feet. If it costs you $350 to build them, ADU right now, $700, $750, $1 million worth. Where do you actually buy a property for build something for $350 and it's worth $7? One player, you make $350,000 in profit in Seattle, and everybody's trying to run away from the Seattle market. I tell them, keep running. It's okay. Just leave more room for all of us right here. But yes, that's the play now. So that's why, with the rates coming down, with the new zoning happening in Seattle, oh man. You know, I usually don't tell anybody all this stuff, you know what I mean? But for Mike and Jess, I'm gonna tell everybody, right? This is the new play. If you ain't on this play, I'm telling you right now, when this thing goes away, it's gone. Townhouses is gone now. This is the new play now.
So when you do the DADU, can you comment on like separating utilities? Like I understand that electric is very easy, but I feel like there's a lot more issues in Seattle in terms of the water.
Yes.
So
I'll let Dave share. Why don't you share that? Cause you educated on this. When you build a house in a DADU, how do you separate the utility?
Yeah, the sewer hooks up to the main in the street, or the sewer hooks up to the SFR's sewer. Mm-hmm. So you just everything ties into one sewer. Yep. And in Seattle, they don't let you do another meter, so you'll just tie into the same water meter. You may have to upsize your water meter. Yep.
So there's no 2 water meters for.
No.
Is that going to be a thing in the future?
They listen. This is what they say. Okay, they talking about doing unit lot subdivision. That's like townhouses. When they do that, then you have your own separate water meter, your own separate sewer meter, and they're talking about that. That's the thing they're talking about. If that happened, but there's a pros and cons for that. If they do unit lot subdivision, they can get you for MHA fee. Dang, they trying to get us, you guys, right? But yes, that's the pro and the con.
It just takes so much time. We did a project in the central district that we could have ULA'd, and we condoized it anyway because it was faster.
It's faster. Yeah. You can get condoized paperwork done in 2 weeks. Run parallel when you're getting your ADU being built in the back. So by the time it's done, it's already ready to go. It's a game changer, guys. I'm telling you. Listen, Washington State is the only state that has separate parcel number. In Washington State, only about 5 cities has the separate parcel number. You know who just got it recently outside of Washington State? San Jose. They just got it. They have 2 separate parcel number now. They can sell it separately. Seattle, Kirkland, Everett just recently just got approved. Berrien, right? These are the only city around Puget Sound that have separate parcel number. But by summer next year, pretty much everywhere in Puget Sound will have separate parcel number. About a month and a half ago, every city council, every people that work for the city, they was in Seattle, the Maidenbauer. They were talking to the Seattle people, trying to figure out how they can do that in their own city and their own state right now. They was all in Seattle 2 months ago. See, I'm gonna tell you, every city council are watching Seattle because we're the leading on this whole thing, and they all try to figure out how did you do that? And they all now doing it. San Jose was the first city that just got separate parcel number. The state of California about to get it next. You know who just got approved for ADU, but they don't have separate parcel number yet? Las Vegas, Arizona, New York, Boston, Atlanta, Denver. All these big cities, they all got ADU approved now. Chicago, they all got them. You can put them in the back. You just don't have separate parcel number now. The moment you have separate parcel number, you separate them, they value individual like houses. And you can get refi and get money out of them, every one of them. That's why it's a game changer. This is a game changer. It's like the new sliced bread that only a few people understand this game, but it's where all the money's made right now in Seattle. Yes.
You can answer part of my question, but do you know anything about Shoreline and Renton?
Yes, they don't have it yet, but by summer next year or sooner, they will get separate parcel number. You can build them in the back. You just can't get the separate parcel number. This would be like a house with another house in the back. They don't have the same ARV value of individual houses. Does that make sense? Yeah. But when they do get it, it spikes like crazy. But if you're gonna do it, you do it for you're gonna do it for the cash flow. But it's even harder to get financing for the back house because it's all one parcel. Does that make sense? When you have a separate, you can separate this. Now this don't have no lien on it. Now you take it to the bank and you go, I got a lot that had permits and this thing is worth $700,000 and it cost me $350. That's a 50% LTV. Bank go, okay, here's a loan. They won't do that at a house that's connected on one loan. Okay? Yes.
I have a few questions.
So ideally, guys, 5,000 square feet minimum. When I use like a deal machine, I always put in, I want lot size at least 5,000 square foot and bigger because I want to scrape all 5,000. But the key play is where the house sits. If the house sits in the middle, you got nothing. Make sense? So if the house sits in front and I got them in the back, now what would dictate what you can do in the back is how wide, how deep. So 5,000 square foot works if this house sits towards the front and it has enough width or depth. And every lot's different. That's why every deal is different. If you get a 6,000 square foot lot, it's more ideal because it's going to be a lot more deeper, could be more wider. Because most lots in Seattle are 50 by 100. That makes sense? Some are 40 by 125, 130, right? But most of them are 50 by 100. So you get a 6,000 square feet, there's a better chance you can get 2 on there. So if you get a corner lot, it's even really better because a corner lot will give you a house, but you have access from the alley and the here. So you can put 2 houses back here and you have easy access to get to them. So it's even better. Okay? So at least 5,000 and bigger is idea. And right now, I mean, like, where are you getting all your updates right now with ADU? Like, you always searching around. Where do you get updates at?
One Seattle plan, the Seattle website.
Seattle plan website?
Yes.
Okay. Where else? Where else are you looking at?
Architect.
Well, architect, right. But
You go to the SDCI, Seattle Department of Construction and Inspections, you can just chat with them, like message with them, and in real time, they'll even call you and they'll just like actually give you free consulting on your lots. And these are the people that are actually stamping your plans at the end of the day, so the stuff they say is super valuable. That blew my mind.
Yeah.
When I found out you could just
yeah. And then I think all you got to know about the ADUniverse, right, .com, right? David, what you got?
So I heard that the max lot coverage for a 5,000 square foot lot is going to go potentially from 35% to 50%.
It is. That's true.
But that's the thing you got to think about when you're looking at lots, because, like right now, a lot of lots with 35% max lot coverage, you can't get more than
one.
Like an Ares on there that's like 750 square foot.
And even if you could get 2, if it's on single family zoning, you're not going to be able to get 2 on there because it's still single family zoning. The only reason why I can get 2 on there, because mine is LR1, is a townhouse zoning, the one I just bought on Beacon Hill. So that's why I can get 2 on there, right? But for NR3, that's a single family zoning in Seattle, you don't get 1 on there. You won't be able to get 2 until the new zoning hit.
Yeah, but even then you got to be careful. I mean, it's just a calculation. So
True.
if they change it to 50%, you just have to do the calculation.
That's right.
And don't assume that you can get to 1,500 units on there.
That's right.
You got to run that feasibility.
Ideally, you want to have 6,000 square feet and bigger. That's going to give you more room to play with. Yeah. Back there?
Yeah, Thach, I just got some comments on where do you find the info. If you want to read the actual rules, just go to the Seattle Municipal Code, SMC, and Title 23. That's your
Okay, there you go. Thank you.
So that'll be any zone you want. You want neighborhood residential, it'll be there. You want low rise, you'll find it there. And then the SDCI, when you chat, you can specifically say, hey, here's my question. Can we hop on a Teams call? They'll go face to face. They'll share their screen. They'll show you in the code. They'll even send you the code extra.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead, Liz.
They've also hosted office hours, and there hasn't been more than 12 people on office hours.
Oh, there you go. That's good.
We've joined both times and got any questions answered.
Nice. There you go. See?
There's just not many people joining.
You guys see how crazy it is? This is like the newest, hottest thing out there. All right? But this is advanced stuff. This is not for the everyday people, right? But it's not difficult to learn, right? Yes, question. Yes, sir.
You talk about making decisions.
Yes.
Based on whether they contribute to your time and freedom.
Yes, sir.
What do you say to the entrepreneurs that are grinding and optimizing for the long-term wealth of freedom, but not for the short term?
Yeah, I mean, again, remember, I didn't go from 0 to where I'm at and then tell you guys, right? I'm saying as you walking towards your freedom, every one of those decisions you make, you can actually ask yourself, is this really going to help me get closer? Like, for example, I'm using Aurora, for example, right? If she walking towards freedom, if she live in Seattle, she want to buy something in Kona, and she want to go out there once a year, then we ask her, is that going to really help her? And if it's sit vacant, how is that helping her get closer to freedom? Does that make sense? So each one of those decisions I'm saying, we can always question. The thing about entrepreneurs, a lot of times, most of them, I mean, they pretty much just, right, go full out or go home. That's the mentality. But that's the old mindset. Look, I'll tell you this. A lot of people don't realize this. And I learned this also from mistake. I have 6 core values in my life. Core value number 1 is abundance. Abundance to everything. Number 2, contribution. Number 3 is freedom. 4, joy. 5, which is mind-boggling to most people when I say this, simplicity. How do you have abundance and simplicity all within the same? Because you know why? Because I choose so. That's it. The next one, creativity. Right? The next one is family. And then the last one is balance. If you had core value like that, as an entrepreneur now, going towards freedom, what if every deal you made, you check with your compass? Today, you know how I came up with the core value? Someone sold me on their golden dream and I bought it. Thach, man, I know my friend and he knows another friend that he's building a casino in Costa Rica. And this friend owned the Costa Rica hotel next door. And they got this lot and they want to build phase 2. And that person told my friend, and I'm telling you, they're looking for an investor. And I'm like, what? That sounds amazing. I have no damn clue anything about hotel, casino, let alone Costa Rica. And guess what I did? I put up $250,000 as earnest money. 30-day feasibility. They did the feasibility, and then they call and they go, the guy down there, oh, we need more time. They asked the owner said, all right, I'm going to give you 1 extension, 2 weeks. The guy said, fine. I'm just following along. And then 2 weeks come, we don't have our answer yet. And the owner says, no more, what you call it, right? Sorry. And guess what? I lost $250,000. And you know what I learned? It wasn't simple. It was complex. It was abundance. I got excited about abundance. It wasn't simple. So today, you guys, when I tell you I get asked to speak a lot, I am not exaggerating to you guys. I just got asked 4 times this week to be on a podcast. I just got asked to speak at a mastermind group in Atlanta right now. I turned every one of them down. You know why? Because it's not good for my balance. I check with my core value, everything I do. So what I'm saying as an entrepreneur, we was brought up with this mindset, all in or forget it. And I think most time people, young people, they never was taught what I just showed here.
Just to clarify, we're in Seattle.
Yep.
What happens when you own a venture-backed startup and you do have to grind for the next 5 years?
Yes.
And this framework doesn't exactly need to make the.
I think, listen,
What do you say to those?
listen, I'm telling you right now, you can be a startup company and you don't have to burn the candle at 2 o'clock in the morning if you say so. I'm gonna tell you right now, I know a lot of friends who are very wealthy and divorced. They would trade back their marriage for the money. Listen, I had $6 million, couldn't bring my dad back. That's no different. What are you talking about? It's the old mindset. I will challenge you to build a company, okay? To build a company where you can actually have balance. Balance means health and vitality. well-being. Because you know the first thing entrepreneurs throw away? Health and well-being, out the window. Because I got to work graveyard shift all the way morning to night. So I'm going to challenge you, my friend. You got the old paradigm of an entrepreneur, the grinder. I'm telling you, you can put in the work 6 in the morning, 10 o'clock at night. And you say, that's what I'm going to get done. And then at 10 o'clock, you're done. You do it the next day. And then you think about it. Watch this. But what's the purpose of all that anyways? At the end of the day. I'm going to build this company I can sell it for $100 million. Yeah? You know what my wife Cammie say? Honey, let's relax and enjoy the journey to our $1 billion. Because the next 25 years, all my net worth and everything will turn to $1 billion. And my wife says, let's relax. Why do we need to hurry up trying to hurry and get there? For what? You can't spend all that money anyways. This is what Cammie says. Another $100 million is not going to make a difference in our life at all. You built the company, set up for $500 million. So what? Enjoy the journey. The worst thing you want to do is die on your way there or have cancer on your way there. But at the end of the day, money, everybody, they put this thing about money and they sell off everything for this thing called money. Don't do that, bro. I challenge you to go build your company and do it in a way that's healthy to your mind, your body, and your soul, and your spirit. Challenge you to do that. Okay? Question? Yes, Chan.
This year is only Seattle, Burien, Kirkland allow DADU, building DADU, and then separate the lockdown.
Yeah.
Next year, every single city in construction are going to allow that. Are you still focused in Seattle from next year onward, or do you expand?
The reason why, if every city start to have that, I would try to still stay closer to a city where, because like this, let's say I go somewhere far, and Dave, you can appreciate this. If I took you to go build something in Burien and something here in Seattle, how much money are you really saving on the construction?
You're in Seattle, not much.
Not much. What's the difference in ARV in Burien versus Seattle? Very much different. What's the difference between rent as Burien versus rent in Seattle? What's the point I'm making? If you go build an area that's very inexpensive, the cost ain't gonna change much, but the ARV and the rent drop massively. So you gotta find the balance. You don't wanna go to Mercer Island. You don't wanna go to Timbuktu where like ARV is very low. It's gonna cost you instead of 300 here, maybe 275 over there, but the ARV is 500, 550, but Seattle, 700, 750. Rent over there, 22, 23, 25. Here, 35, 4,000, 4,500 for the same product. That's the difference, Chan. Compared to too expensive. Because in Kirkland, you buy the house for 1.3 million. The rent in Kirkland ain't that much more than Seattle.
It's about the same.
See? See how crazy that works? Look, I'm gonna give you a secret. The reason why I stay in Seattle is that reason. Kirkland, Bellevue is too expensive. You're forced to sell everything. So I'm gonna do all this work to force to sell it. Why? Because it doesn't cash flow. I have to leave so much money in it to make it break even. Seattle, at least I can sell the front house. I can have the back house for $350. In Kirkland, no. If you buy something for 1.2 million, 3 million, you might not be able to sell it for that. You might have to take a hit on that. And some of that negative fall back on the land in the back. So then you got land value now. And by the time you build it with the land, now it's so expensive, it might not have cash flow unless you leave a bunch of money in it. That's why the Seattle market is good until all you guys are buying. You gotta mess it up. That's all right. Does that make sense? Okay? Question, yes.
So
I tell you the best thing about Seattle people. Do you know in Springboard, in our program, the Seattle chapter, out of 300 students, probably 60% of them work for a tech company. 60% of the Springboard students are in the tech business. And they make anywhere between $200,000 to $500,000. So they make good money. So they can't afford to buy in Seattle. We gotta buy the right product. So if I was coaching you, this is what I would say. You don't own a house yet, right? Good. Don't go buy a property in Seattle. Now, a lot of people don't know this. Dennis did this. Where's Dennis Nguyen at? Over there. You can buy a turnkey, 5% down, with a backyard for future development. You can house hack the front, live in it, rent out some room to your friends. Ideally, you get a basement, you live upstairs, you rent the basement out. that make sense? Well, Polly and her husband, they work for Amazon. They bought a house up in Greenwood. They pay $650. How much you pay for yours, bro? $725. And I think they pay what, $700, right? Yeah, I think they pay around. Now what? He did it, right? How much you pay for yours?
Paid $725.
All right, and then how much it cost you to rehab the house?
About $140.
And then how much money you put down on that?
Down payment only 5%.
5%. So he house hacked that. So he remodeled it. He lived upstairs. He rent the basement out. But Paulie and her husband do the same thing. They rent the top because they get more money, and they live in the bottom, right? They separated the ADU now. They have a separate parcel number, and he has a plan and permit. He went to Gil Mortgage, and Gil Mortgage says that if you say on paper that's to be your primary, we can do it for no money out of your pocket. That's what I would do if I was you. Sounds simple, huh? Yeah, it's doable. He did it. Man, I mean, lots of people doing it in Seattle. I would house hack my first deal, fix it up. Now, you know you can do a 5%. You got to know you got to do a 5% rehab loan. Dennis, what's that program called?
Homestyle renovation.
Homestyle renovation. Dennis, tell them how that worked, bro, so they know, because you did it right now in Burien.
Yeah, so with the homestyle renovation loans, you could buy a property, and it doesn't have to be in livable condition. But with the homestyle renovation loan, you could lump in your purchase price and your rehab into one loan. And since you're owner occupying it, or if you're house hacking it, you only need to put down 5% of both the prices. So you're able to fix the property up, make it nice and turnkey, and move into it and live in it and rent the other part out. While if you have a large backyard, to Thach's point, you get all the rehab done and you own this backyard free and clear, where you can build on $350 for a DADU, it's worth $700.
Yeah, and if you house hack the front and you did a rehab, you create sweat equity in the front house. If you have a sweat equity, you can pull some of the equity later on if you want to and go buy. You can house hack once a year, right? Yeah. Yeah. So I'll just milk the hell out of that. I actually did about 8 times. So let's say you have a house with a basement. Like those guys have a house with a basement. You can live, if you rent upstairs, you got to get more money because usually it's 3 bedrooms upstairs and then downstairs like 1 bedroom, 2 bedrooms. That makes sense? Both levels have kitchens. They build it with kitchens, okay? And so then you can choose whatever level you want to live on and you rent the rest. And then that portion, let's say your mortgage is $4,500 and you rent the top for $2,500, $3,000. Now you're living in that house for literally $1,500, which you couldn't afford, which you wouldn't be able to pay that much anyway if you bought your own house. So now you separate the back lot. Whenever you're ready, you go get that permitted. Now you have a free and clear backyard. You go to the bank, they give you 100% financing without even no money out of your pocket. Then you hire someone like David, he go build it for you, right? Now you got this property, when you get done for $350, you go to the bank and the bank go, this thing is worth $700,000. You can refinance it, right? And if you wanted to, you could pull a little bit of equity out, but leave the mortgage low, take some of that money. If you wanted to, if you have 20%, you don't have to wait a year to buy again. You can take the 20%, go buy another house similar what you just did again. And then you start the process again. And then a year later, you take that house, the primary, you do a house hack that again. See? See how that works? All right, make sense? Yeah, one more. Oh, the cost of waiting, you guys, I'm telling you right now, if you buy now, rates are going to be down 1%, they say, 2025, another 1% in 2026. You can all refinance the property later. But just think about everybody tonight knowing what the game is. This is just a small portion of people that understand this game. There's Wari, they know this game. Springboard, they know this game. So imagine now when rates start to slowly tick, for every 1% the rates go down, 1 million more buyers are out looking at houses. So right now, everybody's still waiting for the election to, calm down, and do all this. Basically, everybody's still on hold. But all the smart people like you guys, you go out there and you buy because everybody's still sleeping on the sideline before everybody starts coming back on the sideline. Like me, I'm buying. Anything that's good, I'm buying. Because I understand this game. So waiting, you guys, you are going to lose. Because why? Because you might save a little bit on interest rate, but you're going to pay a lot more for the price. Just think about how, right now, it's already competitive to find these properties. Imagine you have more buyers that with low interest rate, you're going to pay $100,000 over asking price on these properties later. Easy. Or more. Dave, you got a question, bro?
Well, it was a comment about earlier.
Yes.
The thing about, like markets like Kirkland and Bellevue, we permitted like for a customer like 40 DADUs in Kirkland.
Yeah.
And the thing is, in some of these other jurisdictions, the bureaucracy, there's a lot of gotchas that you got to watch out for.
Yeah.
So you're paying more for a property, but you're also potentially, they're going to say, well, we need you to extend the storm drain.
Yes.
Or you're not going to be able to meet drainage requirements on this property. So it's much different in Seattle. It's a much safer bet.
Yeah.
And with that too, you can get DADU permits pretty quick.
Yeah.
And anytime you try to get more complicated, build an SFR, like permitting times increase. So anyways, I was just gonna make those comments based on what you were saying.
If you wanna own rentals and do DADU play, Kirkland is too expensive. You're gonna pay 1.2, 1.3, 1.4 million dollars for a house, right? And by the time you shave off the backyard, you got so much on the front house that you're forced to sell it. Or if you have to sell it, you might not be able to sell it for that much because you lost the backyard. So the owner be like, there ain't no backyard to this house, right? And in Kirkland, they ain't using no backyard. It's not dense enough like Seattle. Seattle, they go, no backyard, no parking. Okay, fine, that's normal. Kirkland, no backyard. I don't know about this. You know what I mean? So you're gonna take a big hit on the front house when you sell it. Okay? Yes. Tonight, you've been smiling all night. I love it. Give it up.
So, my first time seeing Thach, holy mackerel, what the hell? Like, you're amazing. Thank you so much for the message. So I've done a lot of real estate in my past. I've paid a lot for mentorship. It's worth it if you find the right mentor. I didn't have Thach. I mean, I had great mentors, but I didn't have Thach's message. And I made the mistake. I got really big, sold it all. Like, it's just, anyways, anybody who's on the fence, sign up for mentorship with this guy.
Are you in my mentorship right now?
No, I'm not.
Oh my God. How nice is this?
No, I don't know how much he charges, and I understand there's some kind of sliding fee or whatever, like you have tiers or whatever. He will get you to where you want to go if you're willing to do the work.
This is nice.
Yeah.
I got free endorsement from somebody that been a student of mine. Look, guys, sincerely, I tell you, to answer your question earlier, I just want to help people. And when people are part of my springboard, they have access to me more there. Like these, I can do this all night long. And this is what we do at our live calls and our meetup in Seattle. Every time we come to Seattle Springboard meetup, there'd be like 250 students like show up like this, and we have all my different team members to come. My architects coming next month, my survey people come this month, right? This person, they all come because we want to teach them how to master this game right here called investing in Seattle. And so thank you, right? This is, all I want to do is help people, right? And I just help people more when I see them more often, okay? Question? Yes, sir.
First question, for the DADU, detached, right? Will you have a separate number, or it's only have to be attached with the primary house?
We have your own separate tax ID number. Yeah.
The second question, I have a duplex in Seattle.
Yep.
Unfortunately, it's sitting in the middle of the lot, so there is no way for me to add the DADU. But I'm thinking about turning the basement into separate units there. Will you have a separate number, or is that?
Yeah, so good question. So number one, when you say duplex, the first thing I would check is what's the zoning. Because if it's zone multi...
Right now, but it's changing to an R, so it will allow like a full...
What is it right now? What's your zoning right now? NR3, so single family right now? Right. Okay. Yeah, so you have a single family, but it's a duplex. It's live upstairs and downstairs. So it's an illegal duplex, right? It's a single family with a basement. Okay, unconformed, got it. Yeah, so yes. See, I had to make sure. I had to make sure I question these guys when they say duplex. Yes, so your property is single family, yeah, you can put an ADU in the backyard. That's true. Now, if you want to make the basement a legal ADU, you can go get a permit, make it legal, but when you ever sell it, I'm just going to tell you from my experience, I was a real estate agent for 30 years, you're gonna have a hard time selling somebody. You can buy my upstairs for $500,000, you can buy my lower level for $350,000. People are like, I'm not buying no basement for $350,000. So I think that when you ever sell, you're gonna sell this whole package. This whole house go for this, and it's a legal ADU that you can sell that. But so for me, I'm telling you this. I don't go get permits for my ADU in the bottom. I'm just telling you that's what I do. I'm not telling you to do that because I ain't waiting 6 months for no permit for the basement. By the time I get permit, I'm already done remodeling the whole house already. Okay, like my house right now, I'm doing on Beacon Hill. I'm doing the whole entire thing up, down, down. I'm gonna be in and out of that thing in 4 months. I'm gonna get this thing rented before the permits even come. Because I don't care for the legal ADU because I'm never gonna sell it separately with a separate parcel number. So for me, that's what I do. I'm not telling you that you should do that, but I just don't want to wait 5 months for a permit in the basement. So I cover all the windows. I keep the yard clean. I tell the contractor, keep the yard clean, keep all the window cover. Or anybody asks, tell them you don't speak no English, right? Just kidding. Just kidding.
Last question. You were talking about house hacking. I just want to know like a little bit more detail about like how it works specifically, from like getting the house, like fixing it up and all that, living in it, like the whole process. And then last question, how do you feel about people saying that Seattle is saturated, so invest in Tacoma instead?
Oh look, I mean, you can talk to Michael. He can tell you how the house hacking process works, right? But to me, you guys, Tacoma is also saturated, depending where you're looking at. Everywhere is saturated in Puget Sound. The only thing about Seattle, again, is that whole process, right? It costs the same to build here until Seattle and build in Tacoma. The ARV is different. You don't have separate parcel number in Tacoma, maybe till next summer, you know what I mean? But hey, if you find a good area down there, I'm open to that. But I own all my property, my crew's up here, so I just stay to Seattle. And trust me, you guys, there's still so much opportunity in Seattle. Remember I said I have abundance mindset? I have an abundance mindset. I don't have no problem sharing everything with everybody in this room. Every one of you guys are my competition. And you know what I say to myself? There's plenty for everybody. I don't care. Right? So there's plenty of opportunity in Seattle, plenty of opportunity in Tacoma. Right? If you look for it, you'll find it. Okay? Yes, sir. Good question. I would look at it and I would go, for me, it's very careful when you use debt on debt, because you can get in trouble fast. Okay? Me, when I use my equity, I only like to use my equity on BRRRR where I get the money back and put it back in the property. Or if I'm going to buy something, I'll leave the money there. It better make sure that the property I'm buying, it covers the mortgage on this and it covers the mortgage on the HELOC. Otherwise, too risky. Right? So, for example, let's say you got a HELOC, you pull money out and you want to buy a house with a backyard. This house won't cash flow the house back. We have this, I'll get rid of this, right? And then build this out, refinance, get some of all my HELOC money and put it back in the house. Now this property, right, stand on its own, it cash flow, and then your HELOC money go back into your bank, and then you're safe. I tell you from life experience. At some point in my career, I had a lot of property. I started leveraging, so I was trying to scale by leveraging, by taking out a lot of money, and I got caught with my pants down. And it was not pretty. I had to work as a real estate agent, extra overtime, okay, to actually cover the mortgage until I can get out of the hole. And that was rough, because everybody kept saying, you gotta leverage, you gotta leverage. And now I see all these social media, I won't say their name because you gotta know them if I say it, right? All in or nothing. Oh, Jesus, Lord. Yes. So that's what I would say, okay? Careful. That's what, the advice I give people, try to give them peace of mind, because peace of mind is important. I'm gonna tell you guys about peace of mind. All this real estate you do, you don't have peace of mind, it's worthless. Because you go to sleep with it every night and it's hard. Okay? Last question? Aurora?
Can I just give a testimonial? I just joined Springboard like 2 months ago, and you guys can feel this man's heart. He is so genuine. I was actually having Zoom calls 4 days a week my first 2 weeks. They give so much value to what they offer. I really encourage you, if you want more knowledge that this man shares, he is so amazing. I'm in a lot of other groups, and I can vouch that he has so much value he will give you. You saw what he did with me today. He'll tell you the truth, whether or not from his perspective and his experience. And I really do just applaud what he's giving. And you feel his heart. I know you all do. And I just, as a Springboard member, I encourage you to join because it's amazing.
How is it tonight? Like, people selling for me tonight. That's amazing. I love it. I love it. I love it. Anybody else? All right, I'm going to give you some money tonight for that. One last question, sir.
So in Seattle, I know you're focused on a Seattle area, right? Do you pay much more attention to location, or you pay much attention to the cost of the property or the lot size of the property?
Yeah, in my experience now, also learned from life experience, there's A, B, C, D neighborhood. A, what I call the affluent neighborhood. D is called the drug infested neighborhood, run real fast, right? And then C is coming out of there, and then B is more stabilized, and then A, go back to A. What I realized, you guys, is that the A like Kirkland, too expensive, it doesn't cash flow. The D, real cheap, right? No ARV, right? But a cash flow. You know what I mean? Cheap, but cash flow. What I realized the perfect balance is finding ugly houses with a big lot in the B's and the C neighborhood because it has a balance of both. And that's what I realized from life experience. Okay? That's why I don't like investing in area that's very inexpensive because it costs the same or a little bit less, but it has a slower appreciation, right? And it has cash flow, but I just don't get the rent that I need. So it defeats the whole purpose of all time again. Everybody only gets so much time. And if you want appreciation, and 20 years you expect that to double in value, it took you 20 years to double, we lost 10 years. When we could have done it a little more expensive in a better area. Make sense?
Even in Seattle, right, there are different neighborhoods, of course, right? There are like an A neighborhood.
Yeah, I mean, everybody know what an A, B, C, D neighborhood in Seattle. Because all you gotta do is just look at all the expensive homes in the MLS. You know what I mean? Stay out of the $1 million price point area, because all you're gonna do is buy that property. You're gonna get rid of the front house to get the lot, right? So you're gonna put a lot of money down to buy those $1 million property, and you can't do nothing with it, just for the lot. So to me, trying to find something for like $657 as a fixer, and then add value to it, and then it's worth $1 million. Make sense? Okay. All right, you guys. Let's give it up to Michael and Jess for actually and the House Hack crew. Thank you, Michael. And you guys, thank you for being here tonight. I appreciate it. You know, I always say a speaker can't speak if there's no audience. So thank you tonight for being here tonight and asking all the questions. Because if you wasn't here, it'd be me and Michael talking to each other, and it'd still be great, but
that'd be cool.
Not as good as you guys.
Yeah.
Have a good evening. Love you guys. Peace.